any event that unfortunate or harmful or difficult event that comes upon us, any type of trauma or anything very difficult to endure, can work two ways. Either one, it can weaken us, or two, it can make us stronger. So how does that work? Well, by weakening, what we do is we internalize that hurt, we personalize it, and we make it part of our history and part of our memory, and we store that memory and we add it to the others that we've had in our personal history, the difficult times, the hurtful times, the damaging times. And that memory exists for all of us because we've all been exposed to greedy, ignorant, unconscious, foolish, selfish pigs in our life. And in fact, we're all subject to that type of conditioning. So everyone has that history of being brutalized, because humanity is brutal. So you take that hurt, you take that memory, that difficulty, and you say it's happening again, and you add it to you compare it, and you add it to or associate it with the other memories in your mind, in the storehouse here, and you say, oh, that's me and that's my life. And because you have these memories, they begin to be a pattern for you, and each new event, each new difficulty, you add to that complex, a neural complex. And again, this is where identity comes in. I confuse myself with my history, just like I confuse myself, identify with my emotions and my craving and my thought process, and this thought process, I am my thoughts. You also identify with your memory, because your memory is just a thought, and thoughts are nothing more than words, internal verbalization. So you find that there's always words going on in your mind all the time during the day, because without words you couldn't think, could you? Think about it. Think about a time, or think about having no language. Think about the inability to you have no words. So what would life be like without words? It would simply be a life without thinking. So your memories, we confuse our identity with our memories, our history, our story. So that each new hurt, or each new difficulty, or failure, or embarrassment, or someone making us feel small, or whatever, on the job, being treated unfairly, right? We add that to that complex, that network of neurons, memory. And then what happens is we begin to see a pattern, and then we begin to expect a pattern. It builds up a relationship between me and the world. So I begin to expect, and not only that, I begin to look for situations that might be threatening. And so this builds up a sense of distrust and cynicism. So that's how difficult events and hardships weaken us, because we make them personal. We take them personally. We add them to our egoic self, which is just our story, just another little bit of the story. Now, on the other hand, you'd like to know, I'm sure, how these things, how hardships and difficulties make us stronger. Well, we do that by not taking them personally. there's nothing personal about someone treating you unfairly, because ultimately I'm not my ego, I'm not my story. I don't identify with my history. I have no position, I have no image of myself that I need to protect, that's so vulnerable, that were to be exposed to injustice or mistreatment, I would become, or abuse, I would become hurt by that. I would carry that injury with me, a scar on my psyche. But rather, I look at situations as temporary circumstances that must be endured. And to take action, whatever I have to do, whatever action I have to take, whether it be speaking out, expressing anger, exposing injustice, or just struggling through the task and bearing the tension of the difficulty. Just bearing it out. Like a woman gives birth, she has no choice, right? But she has to do something. She better do something. She can't just lay there. So she has to push, right? With an act of will, she has to actually increase the suffering she's going through, increase the pain of what she's enduring to get through it. So if we get rid of this idea of this personal me, oh, me and my feelings, and me and my associations and my memories, and why could this be happening to me? I'll have to continue this. The guy's coming to unload.